This is Trash Talk with your host, Garrett the Trash Man.
What is up, everybody? I'm Garrett the Trash Man, your host, and you're listening to Trash Talk. John, how you doing?
I am doing great.
All right, it's been a couple weeks, but we've actually got a couple guests. So why don't you guys introduce yourself, what you guys do, who you are real quick.
I'm Rich Foster. Work at, we're part owners of Fox Insulation that just started up in Taylor. So,
Yep, and I'm Cody Zollner, so just trying to take the bull by the horns on this one and get the word out there about who we are and how we can help.
Sweet. Yeah, it's always I want to find a way to start podcasts without starting podcasts because it's like so easy to talk and everything's normal. Then you start the podcast, and a lot of times it's like, oh no, the mic's on. I remember when I first started the podcast, and if anybody's listened to a lot of the episodes, if you go back to the very, very first ones, me and one of my buddies would be in here, and it's just normal buddies talking, no big deal. And then we'd be like, all right, let's do it. We'd turn it on, and we were both like, and we'd do it after hours, so no one else is in the office. Just me and a guy that I've known since I was like 3 years old. And we're like, oh, nope, don't know what to say.
yeah, just edit that one out.
Well, that was back in the day when I did edit it, but then I was like, I don't want to spend this half hour editing these podcasts. You guys can just listen to them. You'll be fine.
Yeah, you can spend a lot of time editing.
Yeah.
Tons.
Well, then I realized as I listened to podcasts, I'm like, I want podcasts to take up time in my drive. And so what am I doing editing these? People just want to hear the conversation like it's normal. So, I got them all out. But anyway, appreciate you guys showing up and coming here because, we saw your sign go up. And we were talking like a week or two ago, and we were like, what the heck? Who's doing that? What's the deal? I saw it pop up. So we got Johanna on it. And she makes things happen. Got you guys in here, so appreciate it.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you inviting us. It's a pretty awesome deal you got going. So
sweet. Well, let's get into the rants. John, let's have you go first. What you got to rant about today?
Dude, my rant is, so I'm sure a lot of people will be able to relate to this. So I think it was yesterday or the day before, my 4.5-year-old, she surprisingly didn't want to eat all of her lunch. And this is a 3 times a day occurrence with her. And finally, I kind of lost it. I'm like, listen, you little rat, you need to be grateful about our food. We had this big, long conversation about it, like how you need to be grateful for your food because, we live in such a bounteous place and we're so blessed. Hey, you need to be grateful for what you have. But then, after that conversation with her, I had the thought process of dude, we live in such an amazing place. America's just unlike anything that has ever existed ever. And I know we've talked about it a little bit on the podcast, but if you live in America and you feel sorry for yourself, toughen up, Buttercup. Because we live in freaking America. There is more opportunities than you can possibly imagine. And if you are not where you want to be in life, that's your fault. And get off your butt and go work.
Yeah.
Because you can have whatever you want. There's just boundless opportunities everywhere. And that was kind of my thought process. I was just thinking about it, the last few days of just, dude, we live in the greatest country ever. And if you aren't happy with who your life is, go change it. Because all the tools are in front of you. All you got to do is use them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fine too because now with the internet, I think that's opened up so many countries to be. I mean, no other countries like America with the opportunities or freedoms we have, but I think there's so many more opportunities around the world and in America as well because of the internet. Because I was thinking about the other day, I was listening to someone talking about the economy, what COVID's going to do, and businesses shutting down and stuff, and that they started throwing that in. If this happened, say, 50 years ago, even 30 years ago, heck, even 20 years ago, early 2000s, and the internet wasn't where it's at today, it's so easy to hop on and make money remotely, which makes me think of you guys' other business that you guys run that I was thinking about, because you guys were saying that's almost fully remotely, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
And without the internet, that's just not there, and it's just produced so many opportunities that it's it's endless. Whether you want to like hop in, trade stocks, like internet made that possible. Do that from wherever you're at. Sell crap on eBay, you can do that wherever at, or start a full-on business where you're auditing cell towers from the other side of the quote-unquote snowflake, like sitting next to Subway, like
Right?
the only one of the 3 restaurants we got in town, just making it happen. So
Still smells like Subway a little bit in our office.
Oh, I'm sure.
Makes it all the way over there. I think we're used to it now. So
I actually really enjoy Subway, but say no to it so often because I'm like, I don't want to smell it all day.
it's like on your shirt, man. Like it's like if they open that oven and then it's like you smell like Subway for the rest of the day. It's true.
Well, and especially in my industry, there's a lot of smells. Like you wouldn't think there'd be any smell. The last podcast we did, I came in, we had just dumped a huge dead pig box. It was like a foot of blood in the bottom, full of like pig placenta and I was like, hey, no big deal. But Subway, I'd be like, I'm gonna smell like that all day. I can't do that.
What you need to do is just hang out in our office for a couple days and desensitize yourself. And then it's gone. We'll just start selling Subway smell immunity in our office.
Well,
charge is another way to create revenue.
I just don't understand why they don't have a drive-through there. I'm like,
it's right by the
any Subway. I'm like, you guys would triple your income if no one didn't have to go to that stinky restaurant.
That is true.
I think the same thing about El Cupidos. I'd probably put on like 30 pounds just to be out of drive.
Well, the one in St. John's does, and every time I pass it, I'm like, gosh dang, these guys over here in St. John's innovating.
We had these guys from we bought the spray foam rig from. They came from Oklahoma, and they're like, "Where's a good place to go eat?" And we're thinking, got to take them to El Cupidos, right? Yeah. And we get the same. It's kind of a creative one. It's like it's a chili relleno with shredded beef and jalapeno cream cheese. But I mean, these guys were like.
It's the best thing ever in my mouth.
What is in this burrito? Yeah, just go with it, man.
There may or may not be a little cocaine in there.
And then Ava's poblano too. It's like when people come here, we tell them like just go get that, and like we always get like the call back like, hey, you told me to go by this place and get a poblano, and that thing was amazing.
Yes, it is.
I want to let you know it's the best recommendation I've ever received.
Yes. And that lady kissed my baby.
So I had to get married for her to quit kissing.
You're like, well, be lucky she didn't kiss you.
That's what's my daughter's 7, and her entire life. She's known Ava is like picking her up, kissing her, and like.
I was literally a senior in high school and still getting like kissed.
It
was until I came back to.
That might have just been you, man.
You're a good looking fella, dude.
You know when you got it, you got it.
So. That's funny. She don't kiss me no more.
Well, we've gone from opportunities to nice Hispanic ladies kissing us. Well, all right, let's jump over to you, man. What you got? What you got for your rant? What's on your mind?
I don't know. Like I think most of it is. If we're kind of build on that a little bit, like we are in America is the best. It's awesome. I think too, and then to kind of go back to what you say about kind of the internet and how things work, and if you kind of tie those things together, it's like it just makes me wonder if we're in a time where, is this like what it was like when the newspaper came out?
Yeah.
People were like, whoa,
Like you know so much.
Or radio.
Oh, radio. We're like, this is like Yahoo's on the radio, or whatever, and it's like all our kids gonna be like, oh yeah, of course, that's on the internet or the news. Like, are they just taking everything with a grain of salt? And we're all freaking out because we're getting older and we see stuff happening. And I think that's where I see hope a little bit is kind of some of the younger people too that are like they don't read into this stuff a lot, and and to some extent you should, but at the same time it's kind of nice because like when you do get older you kind of feel like everything's just going one way and it's getting crazy, but I think that's just what being older is.
I'm always asking, I'm like, is this just like batshit crazy? Is that what's going on right now, or am I just an adult now? And it's like,
I think
this is the stuff that like adults are aware of. And if
you're
I was in high
supposed
school,
to
I
be
wouldn't have...
like on your yard yelling at your kids, and be like, get off my yard!
I just mowed that grass.
Exactly.
As someone that takes care of old people for a living, Yes, it's part of getting.
Yeah, yeah. It's just anger comes with age, but at the same time, I think too is it's kind of neat to see the progression of kids and how they see things, because I think it's just going to be less of a deal, and they'll have their own problems when they get older, and they'll be like, I can't believe these people are, marrying their horses and stuff. And it's like, and then they'll tell their grandkids, and their grandkids will be like, Grandma, what's the big deal?
What's the big deal? The guy likes the horse. The horse seems to be okay with it. Hopefully the horses can at least talk so they can consent.
Yeah, consent. There you go.
Yeah,
You
maybe the technology will be developed where the
Yeah.
horse is like, let's do
Yeah, it's
this.
just like Mr. Ed over there, just nodding away. But I think
It's a bunch of Dr. Doolittles.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, and then the last thing on that is probably just, I saw a meme thing the other day, and it's just like, hey, we can disagree and still get along, and it's just a little kid holding a sign, and I'm like, that's absolutely right, and then, the more discourse that you can have, and the more that you can understand other people's points of views, and just accept it when you disagree. I think that's probably happened years after the newspaper or the radio kind of evened out, and I think we're still riding that wave of the internet and then social media and all.
Yeah,
that.
we're still learning how to
Yeah.
handle social media, because human race has never had anything like that before. It's just constant information, constant everyone's opinion.
Yeah.
Like 90% of humanity's existence, most people's opinions on most things were known between them and their immediate family, or even their spouses, and that's it. And now it's like everyone's got the hot take on everything. Anything that comes out, it's like, well, everyone hop up and share your opinion.
Yeah.
And,
or just tearing up over X Factor golden buzzers or whatever. When some 15-year-old little girl just nails some Adele, You're like, oh,
That's incredible.
I kind of jump in here too, but I just, kind of freezing about what I'm going to say, but, I was thinking about it because I got you guys in front of me, but it's the rant thing is Facebook, and I've never had social media ever, and I still don't, but it's just people need to stick to their, their own things. They don't need to give their own opinion about every little comment, and it just turns in, you see friends that have known each other for years and years and years, and one little conversation comes up, and then one person reads it one way and one person reads it the other way, and it's just like this full-blown battle royale, and you're like, I think you guys are both wrong, but
well, the lack
it's just
of
ridiculous.
context, because the platforms only allow for so much to be said, and most things, most people, you can at least understand where they're coming from if you can pull in the full context. Even if you don't disagree with them, you can disagree and not be angry if you understand where they're coming from.
Right.
And say, I don't see your conclusion. I can see how you got there.
Yeah.
It's not because you hate me or think I'm an idiot or whatever I've assigned to it. I get how you got there. I think you're wrong, but cool, no big deal.
Yeah.
Instead, it's boom.
Well, agree to disagree.
Yeah.
So most people can't do that anymore.
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
And a lot of it too is it comes down to values. Also, is we in an online conversation, you don't know how somebody was raised and how they were, where they were raised, and it's if you a lot of times can see people from the city or something that hold some certain values because that's all they've ever known, or people from all of us that have been familiar with small town. I mean, you're like an alien when you go to some cities and you tell them about living here. They're just like, what? No, that's weird. I lived in Puerto Rico for about 9 months or so, and it's trying to explain. Yeah.
For the income tax, that's a good call. I've thought about doing it.
Which name did I give when I got? But it's it is alien to them when you start being like, oh, I grew up here, and first off, it doesn't rain. They're just like, wait, what? And then the same what you do with holidays. They have 30 holidays in the months of November and December, December and January. And 3 Kings Day, everybody's like, oh, we're not going to work. It's 3 Kings Day, which is 3 days. And I'm like, wow, I need to Google that real quick. And then apparently it's I guess
You should go to Argentina. They have one of those a week.
You can't keep track of them.
But it's crazy because it's everybody finds happiness, in one way or the other, and those two things are very different. But if the more that you can kind of understand like where people come from and why they might think a certain way, it is easier to agree to disagree, because it's like, hey, I get it.
Well, and the funny thing is like that's how convincing. I don't know if I want to say convincing, but that's how, like, having someone see your point of view. You're not going to do it by arguing with them. You're going to do it by hearing them out. And once they feel heard, they've got the experience that, like, man, I've got nothing else to say. Like, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The only thing left for them to do is wonder what you're thinking over there.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they're like, well, I want to know what you think. Tell me more what you think. And like, instead it's just like this battle. It's I've heard it described before as contextual ping pong.
Yeah.
And that's basically what a lot of the conversations you see online. It's just like back and forth, argue. And it's like, if one of you guys will just shut up for a second and hear out the other guy, ask some more questions, really understand,
Right.
Give them a chance.
they'll be happy to hear
Yeah.
you out once
Yeah.
one is heard. So
Exactly.
But it's very, two-dimensional on social media.
Yeah.
It's like,
well,
it's really
and
hard.
on the flip side, social media can be awesome. Like,
Yeah.
we need more of monster cart videos. We
Yeah.
need more funny stuff.
Jake Hatch.
More cute
Yeah.
kids. More black sheep skid steer
Yeah.
doing
Oh,
cool
yeah.
wheelies. Like, humanity is freaking sweet. Like, it's such a cool tool that you can see. Like, take Jake Hatch. He's here. We're in small town Arizona,
Yeah.
and he's known really across the world. Like, there's a lot of. I mean, yes, it's a niche market, but across the world in that niche market, like, it's so cool that he's got a passion about doing freaking wheelies on the skid steer.
I've had people, in the other industry, they'll be like, "Oh, can your buddy do this?" and send me a video. I'm like, "That's him." That's actually him.
Well,
yeah.
it is him. So
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
quite good at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was like the Culvert one where he's like just cruising around.
Yeah,
with
on
the
top
Culvert.
of
And
it,
I was
yeah.
like, see the sticker of the black sheep, and you go, they don't care, but they're. It's like, that's how you know it's him. That's what I look for, is the sticker,
Yeah.
and then. But, yeah.
Last week I was loading a mini excavator, and like the trailer was a little bit steep, and I'm like barely going. It's got the foot control, so I'm holding on to the rail, and I'm like, I don't know how to take it.
Yeah.
So it's just, I'm like, a dude takes a picture, and it's like a tiny incline. It's
Yeah.
not even close, but I'm like, oh!
We just did that the other day, me and Ryan. We had a trailer. It was probably about that big. We didn't have a ramp, and it's like that far off the ground. It was like a Kubota skid steer. I was
We're gonna dip.
I got this. Yeah, I honestly think that the tire could have just hit it and rolled right up. I just didn't.
Probably.
But in my mind, I'm pretty sure I used the bucket and popped maybe a little wheelie and
Ding, ding.
did some things. Yeah. I'm confident that I
Just
mastered that.
Trying to figure out the controls of the bucket was all.
Yeah, that's the craziest part about what he does, man, is because it's like, it makes it look so easy, and then you get in there and you're just like, I got motions. I thought I almost threw up last time I was in the skid steer, 'cause I was like, why does my stomach hurt, man? And it's because I'm not good at
Bouncing
it.
around,
Yeah, just
motion
jerking
sickness.
myself
Well,
around.
then you like the bouncing makes it even
Yeah.
more out of control. You have to just like let everything go and
Yeah.
like ride it out.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
probably helps if you're good at like smoothing stuff out too on your boat. You know,
That would help
you'll
too.
dig some ruts in there.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Well, I think we all kind of ranted in that, so we'll
Yeah.
we'll go off of that. And real quick, I'll just say thank you to our sponsor, Larson Waste, world's best trash company. So get with the program and appreciate them sponsoring this podcast. So let's get into it, because you guys are I would say serial entrepreneurs, because Fox Insulation isn't your guys' first business.
Yeah.
Correct. So why don't you tell us Fox Insulation specifically? How did it come about, and how long it's been going, and like what you see doing with it? What's your guys' vision for it?
So Fox Insulation, there's 4 of us that own that, and we all actually work at the other company, which is Fox Ridge, that does the cell phone tower remote audits.
Uh-huh.
And we've all been friends for a pretty long time, I think.
Yeah.
And so my brother, who's he's not here because he's like really shy. He actually, I think, has anxiety that we're here right now. Yeah,
You guys gonna get back?
It's
He's
like-
gonna be just sweating.
yeah, it's like, what did Richie say? Stupid stuff. He says stupid stuff, yeah. And he's probably right, because, he knows me. But so he's probably has, like, the most residential, like, construction experience, so like one of the things when we were doing Fox Ridge was like, it's a bummer, man. Like we've had, up to 10 employees here.
Yeah.
Like the office in the Philippines, we do all this stuff. I mean, we have like right by Subway, we have people walking in all the time because they think we're this L1 office next door. So
I've
they
probably
walk-
done that a couple
yeah,
times.
yeah. So we just next door, and it's just like, man, like we want to do something local. I mean, you're in a small town. One of the best things you can do is support like your
Yeah,
local
create a job.
community. Yeah, and it's cool because we do create jobs, but at the same time, it's like nobody knows anything like that we're doing. And,
Yeah.
I mean, it takes us a full 20 minutes to explain what we do,
Yeah.
and that's. So we've always kind of, for the past 5 years, I think, kind of really been like, what can we do? What can we? And insulation is kind of a neat thing. It's not a small thing, but it's as far as like breaking into,
Yeah, it's not huge overhead.
Yeah, you're
to
not
get
doing like
startup costs.
electrical work. You're not doing
Yeah, and you don't need
framing.
$1
or
million
something.
of equipment to
Yeah,
get off the
exactly.
ground.
So like that's kind of what we picked, and we really thought that like the spray foam stuff was really neat. So
It is.
we did a bunch of training on that. Did all the bought the stuff for it, and got pretty good at it. And I think that was kind of the. I mean, that's why we went into it. Is like is we just haven't done anything local, and we really wanted to, and we had kind of the experience. Not myself so much as everybody else that works there,
Yeah.
like the residential construction experience. So
Yeah.
it was kind of a good fit.
Well, one thing that I think it was Elon. You said you listened to a lot of Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
And so you've probably listened to the latest one with Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Something he said that I was like, I think there's a lot of truth to that. Is he talked about the value in like building something or doing stuff with your hands, which
Yeah.
I thought was interesting. So I'm like, this guy's freaking loaded. Like,
Yeah.
he doesn't have to do anything with his hands or build anything, but I think he's probably someone that goes out and does.
Yeah.
And I think there really is a ton of value in that. Like,
Yeah.
trading stocks is cool, or office work. It sounds like your guys is really technical.
Yeah.
But like going out and like actually doing something with your hands,
Yeah,
having that
yeah.
that you're building something, I think is a
Yeah.
valuable thing that for me, like I always want to have that in my life.
Yeah. And after we do a spray foam job or just bats and blown in, whatever, work a 10, 12-hour day, I was just telling him, like one of the last ones is like, we're dead tired and it's like, I feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we could actually physically see what we just accomplished. Yeah, we worked our butts off, but there it is, it's done, and we're
Yeah.
like, all right,
Yeah.
I feel good about this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, there's a
Goes
lot
a long
more
way.
gratification than,
Yeah.
Well,
than
then,
just shutting the old computer down.
yeah, and we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then, like you were saying with the building the community, like John flips a lot of houses, and I was thinking that the other day because the last house he flipped is on the road that I used to come out here, and I mean it was a weeds overgrown house that like
Couldn't even see half the
Yeah,
house because
the
it was
house-
covered
yeah,
in
the house
overgrown
is
trees.
getting to be gone, and it's like, man, like he's made a difference in our community. Like I can see like where he's been in the community, like making
Yeah.
it better, refurbishing these old
Yeah.
houses, making it more beautiful, like building the community. And I don't know, I just think there's something so cool, and I think that's what's something cool about being in a smaller community. But I do feel a shift in our community that we're looking more towards the future and growing than I feel like I've felt in the past. I mean, like when I was growing up, I remember watching my parents and even my grandparents wanting to do things, and there was a lot of pushback
Yeah.
because people didn't want growth.
Yeah.
People were actually mad sometimes about jobs coming
Yeah,
into
that's
town,
real.
Yeah,
things like
definitely.
that. And there's a little bit of that here still, but I feel
Yeah.
like as a community, like there's more guys like us now that are like, yeah, let's like, this
Yeah.
place is awesome. Where you don't get that in the big city because it's so big. Like, I mean, you're not even making a date in
Yeah.
it hardly unless you're just a behemoth.
Yeah.
And we're in a position where, yeah, you guys can go start a company and it's creating jobs, it's making a difference. You can buy a couple houses, flip them, that makes a difference. The houses you help build, beautify the neighborhood, and your employees do the same thing, and it's just really a cool thing. And I see our communities
Yeah.
in the whole mountains really making a cool and good turn for that direction.
And I think too is kind of going on with that is that you have the you know, COVID and all this happening right now. I mean, how many people are just looking to get out of the city now?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
And
absolutely.
most contractors we talk to are like, I mean, they're booked for like 2 years, man.
Oh, absolutely.
It's, things are gonna grow out here no matter what. So
Oh,
let's,
yeah.
let's make it look nice. You
Yeah.
know? let's
I
just
agree.
grow it the right way.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could rant about that for a while.
Yeah.
Well, I think that
We start over. We can do that.
yeah, we go back.
Yeah.
So even mentioning his name can be tricky for some people, but I don't care because, like I told you before, it's my podcast, so I'm doing it. So one of the first business peoples I ever started studying because my grandpa gave me his book was Donald Trump, because like the man's an incredible businessman. I know some people don't like his tactics, you know, but every person has people you like that like him. Anyway. One thing he said in one of his books, I don't remember which one, but it's always stuck with me, is he's like, never undervalue the importance of beauty around you. And I'm like, man, that's really stuck with me. And it's something my dad valued too as he built the business. And like you guys commented on our office as you came in, and like, yeah, well, it's important to us that we've got a nice office. Like our employees are here, we want that here in the town. I love that this is a conversation that I think is being had in our community now as we're growing. Like, yeah, what can we do to beautify it? What can we do to make it better? And it's not just, hey, what's the bare minimum that we have to do?
Yeah.
Throw up whatever it is. Okay, someone's got a roof over their head. It doesn't matter. You know, there's nothing else needed. But like, no, let's thrive. Let's make it better. Let's make it an enjoyable place to
Bountiful
be. Yeah.
or abundant or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, it's like going home and you got a dirty living room or something. It's a different feeling than
Yeah.
when it's clean, and it is important because like I think right now it is going to be like a foundation of like what this place is going to look like in the next 20 years, you know, or in 20 being, I mean, how many buildings are in this town that are from older,
Yeah.
much older, you know,
Yeah.
like 100 years old.
Yeah.
That's why I like to buy 100-year-old houses and make them nice again.
Yeah.
That's you know.
Yeah, that's what even the house where the guy that we spray foamed his house was
Yeah.
like he's retrofitting it, you know, with spray foam in there, which is I just think it's the coolest thing. It's like you're on the outside, you're pretty old house, on the inside you're well insulated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I was so excited when we bought that because so my grandparents owned that house for a long time. We called it the card shop because in the 70s, I want to say, my grandpa owned like a baseball, football, those type of cards. He collected a lot of cards and sold cards out of there. And then they had moved down to the valley and different things like that, and they had held on to that, and it was just deteriorating. When he bought that, I'm like, there's no way of putting that house back.
Yeah.
I mean, that you look at
Oh,
it
it's
now, and
nice.
it's a nice
Yeah,
place. And
yeah.
I was like, the house is done.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we'll get you some roll-offs over there. You can knock it down, build yourself a nice place.
Yeah.
But that's gone too far. And,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
him and his wife have done an incredible job of bringing that down
Yeah.
to like just a beautiful. And it's on that corner that's super popular.
Yeah.
And it's like it was just an old nasty. It was it had cool because it was a pioneer nostalgic house, but it was like that's not a livable thing.
Yeah, and he kept it like that. That's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
really
It's
cool
not
part.
like he.
That was the whole reason
Yeah.
he bought it.
Yeah,
You know, he wanted, you know, for the character in the house, and he's like, no, I'm not tearing this down. I'm gonna fix it up, and we're living in it.
Yeah.
I didn't buy it for its location right here in town.
Didn't he live in like a little Airstream or something right behind it?
Yeah, for a
while, too,
long
with
time.
that?
Yeah, they just parked that there, lived
Yeah.
there, and worked on it all day.
Yeah, the guy's got way more style than I got, man.
Yeah.
Even when you're doing that, you're still
Yeah.
like,
You're,
you know,
you're a cool dude, dude.
Yeah, it's like even my temporary housing's cooler than
Yeah, exactly. So, go ahead.
Oh, so I've got a question for you guys, because I think, I think similar in a sense of like, kind of wanting to, you guys kind of had one thing going, you're like, well, let's do something else. So I'm kind of curious, how has juggling the two gone? Because that can be an art form, and I definitely know what it's like to sometimes bite off more than I can chew, but and so I just was curious, how's the juggling of the two gone?
Yeah. I would say it's definitely interesting because I would like Cody too. I was thinking about this last night. Is in the morning, he's talking with GCs all over the country who are building cell phone sites, and coordinating with them, sending some of the work to guys in the Philippines who are doing some of that work, sending it back, and then on the way home, we went and installed like some R19 bats and some behind the showers and tubs in the house as it got dark. So it's like it's kind of goes back to like the technology thing. I mean, we're pretty high tech. We do everything is Microsoft Teams, spreadsheets, everything's shared, everything's cloud. We have the app that pulls stuff in. It makes that stuff easier, but it's not. You still got to do the work. That's the cool part about like insulation is we're gonna do, physical work that you have to now move into everything else that you're doing. But I would say it's gone pretty easy. Like some of the ones too is like with my brother. He's probably the hardest working one out of all of us. Like honestly,
Gets after it, huh?
yeah, he does. But
Doesn't stop.
yeah, and we're fifth. I mean, we're brothers for sure, full blooded. But like I definitely got part of the Filipino gene, and he got he's 6'2" and like 270 or something.
Sheesh.
So,
Boy.
yeah, I mean, like he's the one I call to help move too, because he's gonna be the only one to show up, and then he can like lift a couch,
Yeah.
2 couches, love seat, and everything, and
I've seen him do it.
yeah,
In the summertime, trying to get one side of the couch, just like, get out of the way, man. And I'm like, what?
he just
Picks it up,
It's
and
easier
carries
to
it
just
into
handle
the
this.
hall, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, cool, you gonna get the rest of the stuff too, and I'm gonna go drink some beers and water.
yeah.
You
Good
got
one,
this? Cool.
And he's
Want
funny.
water?
Yeah, he does the same thing with with the computer work though too. Is he's like very like jumps into it head first, and I wish he was here, but he was freaking out. He's like I can't. I mean, what am I gonna say? Am I gonna say stuff? Yeah, not, like he's
Then he just straight up says, yeah, Cody will do it.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So like him though, for example, too, is like even crazier. It's just going nuts on all day long conference calls and all this stuff, and then the very next day popping into an attic and blowing in R38 into the ceiling or into the roof cavity, attic, and it's all day,
Yeah.
So we're throwing down some. And that's the cool part is Fox Insulation too. Is we have 4 owners. We kind of did it that way because it's like let's really build this thing, and it's not necessarily about like owning everything and having a lot of stuff and doing all this. It's about just building stuff, man.
Yeah.
Like just like building stuff and
Being
whatever.
up to something.
Yeah, and whatever we can kind of have like the decision making power on, and still like be able to build. Like that's my goal, man. If we could just build stuff for the rest of the time,
Mhm.
then
Yeah.
I'd be happy.
So just to go off kind of what you said, I've always found it like idleness is not good for me personally, and I know that. And I just love the energy that being up to something in life brings. Like when you're up to something,
Yeah.
like the lens that you see life through always seems a little brighter.
Yeah.
It's just because you're up to stuff. You're moving and you're grooving and you got stuff going on. And like sometimes you can be over. You can be too busy.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just love the energy that being up to stuff brings in my life, because it's just been it's just so cool to see. What are you building? What have you got going on? And so.
Yeah. And kind of going back to your original question is, Hodge will do one part of the stuff while I'm out maybe doing the installation stuff, so he can watch mine and contact the GCs that I need to be in touch with daily, and kind of vice versa. If he needs to go out and do a job or it's his turn or whatever, then I talk with our tech team, and they tell me what to say or ask the contractors, and so we kind of just cover each other's carriers as the day goes, or got questions we can ask them, and it just seems to flow pretty good. I mean, it does get overwhelming at times, but we're managing and we're picking up jobs in the installation, and
That how you describe kind of your day though, like working on the computer, contacting the general contractors, then going and throwing in some insulation. That is my favorite part about running a business. That's what I love, is the variety.
Yeah.
It's not always in an office. It can be meeting with the banker, meeting with your managers, getting that set up, and then rolling out. And for me, it might be in a truck or fixing a truck. Who knows? My wife hates it because she's like, I try to buy you some nice clothes, Garrett, so you look good. And then you go stomping in those nice clothes to the transfer station. And I'm like, well, they're just clothes. We'll figure it out.
Buy some new ones.
Yeah. I come home, they're covered in grease, and she's like, those are your nicest pair of pants. What are you doing, guys?
Yeah.
Well, the truck was broke.
Yeah.
Had to be
Didn't
fixed.
change my
Right.
pants.
Can't
Yeah,
buy
you
more
just-
clothes if the truck's broke. So
Yeah, exactly.
She just needs to buy you some coveralls so that
Yeah,
you can just
throw those on and you're good.
Get after it.
Yeah.
Exactly. One thing, I've got to go here pretty soon, but one thing I wanted to get to that you said before we started the podcast that I was like, yes, I love that, and I want to talk to you guys about that. You said something along the lines of, we were talking about someone that's in the same industry as you, and you're like, we should reach out to him. Like, I'm all about, like, us just all being friends.
Yeah.
Which I love. Like, I love to compete, but the animosity that some people think has to be there with competition, I don't think there's any purpose for it. Like, it doesn't help anybody.
Yeah.
And that's something I've really been looking at in my industry. Because we've got, most trash businesses are local. You've got local guys, got a couple local guys, and I just don't see any purpose in reality or reason, to be focused on like that person's bad. Instead, let's build mine. And my industry in particular, which you guys would be a little bit the same, as the area grows, is how our businesses grow. Really, we've kind of got our chunk of what we have, and we'll pick at the edges back and forth of like, hey, I've got this much market share, they've got that much. We'll pick a little bit, maybe a 3% change is all that happens there. And really what needs to happen is not fighting over pieces of pie, but growing the pie.
Yeah, might as well be friends at that point.
Yeah,
because,
let's be friends and grow the pie. So my question was, or kind of diving into that, when did you arrive to kind of that attitude, or tell me a little bit more about your lens of looking through it that way?
Yeah, kind of just taking it from the other company, right?
Yeah, so the other company, it's like a pretty small industry, but like say in Phoenix you have maybe 20 contractors that all do that kind of work, like climb towers and all this. And if you're, and there is a lot of that. There's a lot of the, like what you mentioned, where there is the animosity and the bitterness. And a lot of that I think kind of stems from guys who, like, I don't know what it is. Like there is some bitterness, and that competition kind of drives them like maybe that way, and they could choose another way. But for me, when I came to it, it was like, you know what? It's way easier. It's easier to be friends with these guys, with everybody, because it's like, hey, we, there's 10 jobs or whatever, and there's 20 of us, and like if I need help on a question or something, and I haven't faced something, like I'm gonna call these guys because they're my buddies. And like just generally throughout, that, and say these guys overbook themselves, and then you're their first call. They're gonna be like, hey, you go build this because I can't do it anymore. So in this town, where it's like even more of a no-brainer for me, is like the more insulation places that we can be on good terms with, like the better service all of us are gonna do. And the better, like, our Christmas parties are gonna be, because maybe we invite more people, and it's like, and it's just, and it, like, one big thing on business that we talked about, building stuff, and everything feels great when you're getting and doing all the diversity of different tasks and all this, but like I think a big important part of that is failure too, and you have to learn to just embrace that, like, and you're gonna, in the same way is like you can go be competitive, or you can just embrace like what the reality is, and your life is gonna be easier.
You don't have to, or not only embrace, but I think you should, like, failure should excite you. Like, it's just part of the process of like growing and continuing.
This is a problem we're not gonna have anymore, because I had it and I got to figure it out, and the next time it happens, I get to hit it head on and even if I'm wrong, I can try it again a different way again, and that's what I like, is like the attempts, and it's and to be able to do that as often as, in a business, you could do it daily. I mean, everything is it's just
hourly.
I mean, you're just tweaking it. It's like, what? I've done this 100 times, and it's starting to look like this, or it's starting to look like that, and it's always changed. So it's like my thing is, I always say, like in the tower industry too, was like that it's like process and accountability, man. Like, and you can get anything done. Like, if you got guys working for you who have people under them, like, and they tell you, oh my God, throwing their guys under the bus or something, it's like, you're just telling me you can't do your job.
Yeah,
you know?
your job is to produce performance.
Yeah, exactly.
In that.
So it's, and that's the thing is if everybody can be accountable and you can find out why a process breaks down and you can make that adjustment, then I mean, there's nothing you can't do. It's that and recognizing your failures, and that's adjusting your process. Anything that fails is like, well, we need to analyze this process and find out why, like a root cause instead of just work harder. Like if
it's always that person's problem. Like if you
Yeah.
continually can't get the job done, it's
if you
probably
were
not that person.
an athlete and you're running a race, like you could win every race by just running faster. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
Or
or
you
they-
can see your process and see where those improvements
Yeah,
can be
where there's
made,
inefficiencies,
Yeah.
where you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I've been discovering in myself is the animosity that comes instead of competitiveness comes from a mindset, a limited mindset, a mindset that's not abundant. And what I mean is, like, if I'm out driving, going down the road, it's real easy for me to have a scarcity mindset and see, say, a competitor's can at a new business and have that, like, rile me up. Like, my internal state starts, like, I feel the anxiety. I'm like, why the hell is that business, like, not with me? What the heck? Even though there might be 10 other cans right around, 10 other businesses right around there that have my service, I go, that one's not mine. Like, the lack of abundance of, like, man, there's an infinite number of potential possibilities outside of that one. So it doesn't matter that I don't have that one. Like, I'm going to go do me. And so I don't think, I was so afraid of not, like, not having animosity against those that are in the same market as me. Because I'm like, well, I won't be competitive, and then they'll beat me out. And yada. I'm just as competitive as ever because, like, it excites me. It's no different than, like, playing a game of pickup basketball with my brother. Like, there's no animosity, but, like, I'm gonna do everything I can to beat him, and, like, I hope he's doing the same to me, because it's not fun if he just lies over either. Like, it's not very fun playing a basketball game with my 3-year-old.
Yeah.
I love him. But the dude sucks at basketball.
Yeah.
He needs to practice a lot, grow
That's
like
where-
3 feet.
Where you just have to dominate. Just dominate, man.
Yeah. And so
Not in my house.
so I just love that you said that, because man, the animosity doesn't have to be there, and it took me time to figure out, hey, how can I still be competitive? Because I love the competitive juices, and, like, bring the team together and be like, all right, what are we going to do to just murder it this quarter? And, like, who are our competitors? How are we going to be better than them? And yada yada. But that doesn't mean, like, heck, if they do great, that's awesome. I don't have to worry about that. I look at my P&L and it's like, yeah, we killed it. We did exactly what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
Who cares if they also did exactly what they wanted to do?
And that is a good point, because I think anybody, like a lot of the successful people I've met, like, they have, that is a trait that they share, is like, let's not turn this into bitterness and jealousy and whatever you want to call it, is let's find out what they're doing and do it better. And let's let's use it, or not even necessarily find out what they're doing. Let's just do a better job our own way.
Because lots of times it's like, you shouldn't be pleasing everybody.
Yeah.
There's someone that does it this way that's better for them. There's someone that's cheaper and that's all they care about is cheap price. And there's someone that does a better job, higher quality.
And doing the best, like, by yourself is always, like, and that's life, man. Is like, you can do the best by somebody else, but that's not you. You know. You gotta do
well, the
that
kicker
best
is
for
there's
yourself.
always someone bigger and better.
Exactly.
So you're never.
Yeah.
There's always someone out there that's
unless you're Jeff Bezos, that guy, there was nobody bigger and better.
Yeah, well, there's going to be someone that comes along.
There will be.
Crushes
He's always got to be watching. Well, and his ex-wife kind of took, like, a big chunk of that. I guess there is. I guess the U.S. government's a little bigger and better.
I read the other day that
divorce lawyers.
his ex-wife on like Wednesday donated $1.7 million and had it made back by
Yeah.
Friday.
Oh,
I'm
my
like, whoa!
By doing nothing.
By breathing.
Yeah, exactly. So the moral of this story is like work hard but marry up.
Yeah, work hard and or marry rich.
Yeah. Well, and it's even on the same point, you know, it's actually easy. It's funny because, you know, we walk in here and this office is glorious, right? Like, it's awesome. And I mean, that thing, I didn't even know what animal, like, has horns coming out. Like, it almost looks like part of a ritual or something.
I'm biking,
You know,
so
yeah.
I gotta have it hanging in.
Yeah. But the way I look at it too is like, it's like you could, like, a lot of people, I guarantee you, probably walk into this office and then they're like, fancy office, you know?
Screw that guy.
But it's like kind of what you were saying before, or, you know, with the whole discourse and talking things out, and like you know, you kind of like had the Trump quote about from his book and all this, and it's like it's all explainable, you know. And from the outside, if you were to look at somebody else's business and just see the way, you know, it's real quick to jump to judgment, you know, but and not know why, you know, like and what motivates. Like what motivates you, you know, like, and that's going to be different for everybody.
Yeah.
So but it's when you only see the surface and there is no discussion, then it's like you might as well, you know, I mean, you're just making yourself mad for no reason.
Exactly.
You know?
You're spinning yourself up, and
yeah.
nothing's gonna come from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even though I am now also going to have a hat collection in my office, I'm going to do something close to that, but and also a tomahawk or hammer head.
Yeah,
thing
found
too.
that in my backyard.
Really? That's an awesome one.
Yeah,
that's
that thing
cool.
is sweet, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm now on the search for crazy horned animals,
yeah.
which I'm
Blue
gonna get.
rooster.
The old blue
We're
rooster,
hunt-
man.
We're
What
gonna
is
hunt that puppy, a blue
Oh,
rooster.
I thought that's what I was like. That's not a rooster. Yeah.
Really sure, I've
Yeah.
seen a few
Yeah.
roosters.
That's why I'm gonna consult with him later because he's the hunter guy. So I just asked 9,000 questions. So what was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, fellas, I've got to hit the road.
Cool.
Get to Phoenix, but appreciate you guys coming in. How do people get a hold of you? See what you guys are up to, get in contact with your business?
Yeah,
How do
so
they do
we are in Taylor, right next to Subway, actually between Buy Sell One and the Walk-In Clinic, and it's the number is 928-588-3626, which actually spells phone, so you can do 588 phone too, which is kind of cool. I don't know. That's how technical I am. I looked at the phone and which numbers were which letter. It's pretty complex
Nailed it.
process. Yeah. You can also go to foxphone.com or there's info@foxphone.com and our Facebook page, which I think is just I don't know if anybody uses the.
I think it's Fox Insulation.
Yeah, it's like
I think
at
that's how-
Fox Insulation
Yeah,
or
that's how
something. I
Johanna
think
found
that's
it.
what. Yeah, cool. So that's good because that she was able to find it.
Yeah.
Because we did something right.
Yeah.
One thing. Yeah.
John, what you got to plug?
Dude, just hit us up at Ballard Senior Home Care on Facebook if you have any loved ones that need help. That's it.
I got some loved ones that need some help.
Yeah.
Hit 'em
It might
up.
be what you're looking for.
All right, yeah, and follow Garrett the Trash Man and Larson Waste across all the platforms except for not TikTok now.
Oh.
I de-installed it, man.
You don't.
So no longer on
Yeah.
TikTok. Sorry, you 12-year-old girls that are listening to the podcast. Can't get you Garrett the Trash Man fill off of TikTok anymore. You're gonna have to go to Instagram or Facebook. But yeah, appreciate you guys listening. Share it with your friends, and we'll talk to you next week. Peace.